All right, let's dive into one of the most powerful ideas in all of psychology. And we're going to get there through this really incredible parable, one that's actually rooted deep in ancient myth. So let me ask you this, and I really want you to think about it for a second. What if your biggest flaws, the things you can't stand about yourself, actually held the key to who you really are? It's a wild thought, right? But it's at the very core of what we're about to explore. This idea that the parts of us we try to hide are exactly the parts we need to become whole. Okay, so let's start with the story itself. The parable of the two-faced queen. Picture this. There's a traveler, and they're on this quest, this search for their perfect self. And this journey, it's not through mountains or forests, it's a journey deep into their own mind. And eventually, they find themselves in this vast, great hall where a mysterious queen is sitting on a throne. So the traveler gets closer, and they just can't believe their eyes. From this one angle, the queen is absolutely perfect. I mean, just breathtakingly beautiful, glowing with life and energy. She's literally everything the traveler has been looking for. And you can think of this as, well, it's the face we all want to show the world, right? Our polished, perfect, I've got it all together self.
But then the traveler takes a step to the side, and the whole beautiful image just shatters. Because the other half of the queen, oh man, it's a withered, skeletal corpse. It's horrifying, blue, and cold like the grave. It's this absolutely shocking, terrifying contrast. And it represents everything we're afraid of, doesn't it? Decay, our flaws, our own mortality. Naturally, the traveler is terrified. They try to look away, to just focus on that beautiful side they saw first. But you can't ignore this. And the queen's voice, it just echoes through the hall with this incredible, profound truth. You cannot know my beauty if you do not face my decay. She calls herself the hidden one, those parts of us we bury deep in the dark so we can seem bright and good to everyone else.
And that's the moment it all clicks for the traveler, the big realization. By trying to ignore that dark, decaying half, they weren't free. They were a prisoner of their own illusion. They were living a lie. And it's only by accepting both faces, the beautiful and the terrifying, that they could finally become truly whole. Okay, so obviously this story it's more than just a spooky tale, right? It's a powerful map of our own minds. So let's decode this duality. Let's really get into what these two faces represent from a psychological standpoint. So that horrifying, decaying side of the queen, that is what the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung called the shadow. You can think of it like a bag we all carry around. And into that bag, we stuff everything we don't like about ourselves. Our insecurities, our shame, our anger, all those flaws we think are unacceptable. The key thing to get here is that the shadow isn't necessarily evil. It's just all the stuff we've pushed down and refused to look. This really breaks it down perfectly. That beautiful face, Jung had a name for that too. The persona. It's our social mask, the polished version of ourselves we show everyone at work or on social media. And the decaying face, that's the shadow, the rejected other, all our mortality and flaws that we hide behind the mask. But here's the kicker, and this is so important. You absolutely cannot have one without the other. They are two sides of the same coin. So it's one thing to understand this concept of the shadow, right? But it's a whole other ballgame to actually face it. And that, well, that requires a journey. A conscious and, yeah, often pretty difficult journey inward. This whole process has a name. It's called shadow work. Sounds intense, right? It's often described as a descent into the abyss to confront all those hidden parts of ourselves. And this is where the myth gets really cool. The queen in the original Norse myths is named Hel, and her kingdom is Helheim. So the old phrase to go to hell wasn't originally about, damnation. It was a powerful metaphor for this exact process, descending into your own unconscious to face what you've buried there. And listen, this journey is no walk in the park. It means descending into that abyss, confronting the very parts of yourself you're most afraid of. You're going to face what feels like character-breaking truths, stuff that makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. It's tough, but that confrontation, it is absolutely 100% necessary if you want any real, meaningful growth.
So you might be thinking, why on earth would I want to do that? What's the point of this incredibly difficult descent? Well, the goal isn't to fight your shadow or to destroy it. The goal is to integrate it, to bring that darkness out into the conscious light.
And this leads us right to one of Carl Jung's most famous and I think most profound quotes. He said, "Enlightenment isn't about just imagining beings of light. It's about making the darkness conscious." True awareness, real enlightenment, it doesn't come from pretending the bad stuff doesn't exist. It comes from having the raw courage to turn around, look it straight in the eye, and say, okay, let's talk. So when you do this work, when you start to integrate your shadow, something amazing happens. Your whole perspective shifts. You start to see that things like death or endings, they aren't evil. They're just necessary transitions for rebirth and new beginnings. You realize that the stuff you hide in the unconscious is actually what's controlling your life. And most importantly, by acknowledging this duality, you finally get on the path to becoming an authentic person, not just that polished mask you show everyone.
And this whole thing, this lifelong journey, it has a name in Jungian psychology. It's called individuation. It's the ultimate goal, really. It's the process of becoming the person you are actually meant to be, not just the person you think society wants you to be. It's the final fusion of the beautiful face and the decaying face into one single, whole person.
So let's circle back to our traveler. At the end of the story, when they finally bow to both faces of the queen, what did they find? They didn't find perfection. No way. They found something so much better, so much more real. They found wholeness. And that really leaves us with one last question, a question for you to take with you. The parable is all about a journey into the mind. And look, we all have that great hall inside of us. So the real question is, what have you hidden in yours? What hidden one is sitting on that throne just waiting for you to finally turn and acknowledge it? Not with fear, but with acceptance.